morning, everybody. How are we all doing? I think I know how you're doing. I think this is going to be yet another chipper show here on United People's TV, full of enthusiasm and happy United fans. Wah. No, it won't be. There's going to be a lot of frustration. I don't think, maybe there's going to be some anger. I imagine there'll probably be some anger, but I imagine frustration is the main emotion that is going to be everywhere today in the comments, amongst the community, and I don't blame you. All right, that defeat 1-0 last night to Brighton, and let's be honest, it wasn't too much of a surprise given Man United's away form this season. I would say here at the very start, I still think we're getting top four, but we are making it difficult for ourselves, aren't we? We are. Thank God we've got that buffer, which I spoke about in the podcast which we recorded yesterday. I'll run through that. Good morning to everybody. I will speak to you all. I'll run through your comments. You know what it is. It's an interactive show. No doubt there's going to be like hardly anybody watching this morning because no one really likes speaking about United after we've lost. Certainly not here on United People's TV. You know, I've always said that before. You know, fan channels have gained the reputation of doing better when their team performs badly. Not United People's TV. No one wants to tune in when we haven't won. Good morning to everyone down here. Let's have a look. Kieran Trainer, good morning to you. Fred, good morning to you. Sam, Madhouse, Matt Bird. Got John Lane on Facebook. Good morning to you, sir. Dave Curran, Saeed, you're watching. Carl, Josh, and I can see you there as well. Julie, we've got Paula, you're there. Ruben, Ian Robertson. We've got Stephen Lawrence watching on Facebook. Perry Neal watching from Wales. Good morning to you. Of course, it's Map Day. We'll pull the map up a little bit later on. But before we start the show, it was me, Alex, and Matt recorded a podcast last night. There's a little bit of swearing in this one, I'll be honest. There's a lot of frustration from Alex and just from everybody, really. And I think the podcast really does sum up that frustration. But yeah, just a little warning about the explicit nature of it this time. And T, you're there as well. I can see you down there. But we need to speak about this last night. I think if one picture sums up that performance, it's that, isn't it? It's that. It's just like, because once again, I don't think we learned anything new yesterday. There was nothing groundbreaking from that performance that goes, I didn't know that before. I know Manchester United have got an abysmal record away from home. Okay, there it is again last night. I know Manchester United need a striker and we have a massive lack of clinical finishing that's hurting us in games. Again, we saw that last night in the first half. I know that in the second half of games, certainly in the last month or so, we seem to be tiring. And we saw that again last night. I know full well that Manchester United need more control in midfield. I saw that again last night. All the same issues that we've seen in multiple different games. And it's just, yeah, it's frustrating. I can see down there in the comments, Martial is getting a lot of hate in the comments. I said my opinion on Martial a few months ago, and I've now sort of detached myself from getting overly emotional about Martial. It's just his levels. Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit, and I'm done with it. I am done with the Martial hype story. All right, Man United have got to move him on the summer. There is absolutely no two ways about it. Last night wasn't the sort of the reason for that. It's just it was a game which passed him by. I'm not going to have a go at him for the finish. I thought it was a great little move. Probably one of the nicest passing moves United had. Great pass from Martial to Fred, straight back to Martial. Keeper made a decent save down to his right. But it was just another game where all the same problems that Manchester United have had all season long just build and build and build. Now, as I said, right, and I will reiterate this before we really dive into this conversation. We get Man United, if we do not get top four, that is a catastrophe because it's all totally still in our hands. Alex speaking on the podcast last night saying, what if Brighton win all their games? Brighton have got to play still Arsenal away, Newcastle away, and City, I think, at home. Nah, they're not winning all those games. Liverpool, they might win all their games. But still, we are, 4 points ahead of Liverpool with a game in hand. Right now, well, look, take a look at Man United's fixtures, right? Let's see if we can pull this up. Scores and fixtures. There you go. This game on Sunday all of a sudden takes on a bit of significance, doesn't it? Right? I'm definitely worried about that. I don't know what to expect away at West Ham. Actually, I know exactly what to expect. Everything that we've seen all season long away from home. And there will be, I'll call it squeaky bum time if we don't get the right result there. But we've got Wolves at home, man. You've got Bournemouth away and you've got Chelsea at home. Chelsea are absolutely busy. And then you've got Fulham to end the season. I know we're not going about it the right way. We are absolutely limping over the line. But I think we will limp over the line. Still pretty confident we're going to get top 4. Oh, we're just not. We are making hard work of it. I'm going to go down here. If you see what you're saying in the comments about Martial before we kick into this show properly. Morton, you're saying, while I agree we should be getting rid of Tony, I don't see it happening. Who will take him with his injury record and wages? I think we'll be able to sell him. I think so anyway. You're right about the injury record. You're probably right about the wages as well. Might be an issue. You might see United do what we did when we loaned into Sevilla. We'll find somebody to loan into across the course of a season with the option to buy at the end of it. And then maybe at the end of that, we'd see. I don't think he's going to be in our squad next year. Shax, you're saying, would Fred be on the sell list? He's not consistent, gives the ball away too much. I don't think Fred will be on the sell list, nor do I think he should. But Fred, again, yeah. Oh, geez, sorry about that. I'll speak about it a little bit later in the show because I want to focus on other things first. But I'm going to have a conversation around Casemiro and around Fred and around Manchester United's midfield. Shax, I can see you down there. I think you just gifted a membership. Yeah, you did. Well done. Thank you very much, Shax. Odie Grass, you just been gifted a membership by Shax. Maybe is it Shaquille? Maybe it is Shaq. I don't know whether it is Shaq. Probably isn't. But look, I tell you what. I felt really, really sorry for Luke Shaw last night for the fact that it was him who gave that penalty away. Because I thought he played brilliantly. Again, at left centre-back. Kind of making me question, what is Luke Shaw's best position? Is it centre-back or is it left-back? Still probably think it's left-back. But I tell you what, he really, really has grown into that role, hasn't he? Really has grown into that role at left centre-back. And for him to do... Look, it was a dumbass decision. He spoke about it after the game. I think he got a little bit of a nudge in the back. But don't just go shoving your arm in the air. Luke, what are you doing? Absolute moment of madness that ultimately cost us. Because if that game there had finished 0-0 last night, there may have been some frustration. But that's all it would have been. A little bit of frustration. I thought we were competitive in the first half. Second half, it was just... They were far better than us. But I felt really sorry for Luke Shaw. He spoke about it after the game. Well, he didn't speak about that. He spoke about what he saw as the issue, right? And I want to have a conversation about with you in the comments this morning, right? As a community. Where are you, if you're assessing that game last night, where are you pointing the finger to for the root cause? That's what I always try and do. Root cause analysis. It's a bit boring, but I think it served me pretty well in terms of analysing and assessing football over the last few years, right? That's why I always went on about United needing a defensive midfielder for so long, more so than most people did. I know that you can look at Man United's problems up front. I feel like I might do a video on this lunchtime. I know we need a new striker, right? And if we're looking at Martial last night, we're looking at Rashford. We had a conversation. I know we had a conversation as a community, and we all said we all feared what would happen to Manchester United when Marcus Rashford's goals dried up, which was going to happen at some point this season. Bingo, you're watching it. You're watching Manchester United without Marcus Rashford's goals right now. And who are you turning to? Me and Alex, we spoke about it on the podcast last night. We said we're probably looking towards Bruno as our spark against West Ham on Sunday. It's Rashford Rashford, you can't expect any player that you might point towards Erling Haaland, but he's an absolute freak. You can't look at any player to just carry the goal-scoring burden all season long. And not when you're trying to go for the Champions League, not when you're competing. Well, you've won one League Cup and you're in the other domestic cup final and you were going, well, let's not talk about Europa League. I'm not. This whole football team is fading away as the season progresses. It's almost like we had a World Cup mid-season and we've been in 4 competitions longer than anybody else. It's really, really catching up with us now. Really catching up. I'm going to see what you're saying about this in the comments, right? Fred, you're asking why we're fading in the second half. I think it's purely a fitness thing, man. It's an accumulation. That's what this is. Abayomi saying, Martial, did he not come into the conversation? Obviously, you, my friend, weren't here for the first, 5 minutes of the show where we were just talking about Martial. If we don't score, it's really up to the defense to not give the game away. Although a true comment, it shouldn't have been said. I know, absolutely should have been said by him. I think it completely. Bear in mind that he did say after, he said, I hold my hands up. Probably not the right choice of words. I hold my hands up and said that it was his mistake. Of course it was. And United, and again, speaking about the podcast, I just think there was quite a few pretty relevant points made by Matt and Alex last night. A professional football team, that's what they called it. A professional football team sees that game out last night. A professional team sees out those last 10 minutes. They make it bitty, get rid of the ball. Don't cause any problems. Don't get those stupid fouls away on the edge of the box, which we do tend to do quite a lot of. I agree with that. There's a super chat there. I don't want to miss that. Let me go up here. Addy, what you're saying? You're saying, we lack creativity to create chances for strikers. Even if we had 10 strikers, we will never break down an organised team. Our wingers are greedy. I would disagree with that. I think our chance creation is pretty good and kind of always has been fine. Last night, I'm looking at Anthony had a clear-cut chance in the first 90 seconds. Rashford, yeah, the angles were tight on for Rashford and Martial's chances. I wouldn't say they were. I said the clearest chance was probably Anthony on his favoured foot, in a good position, central to goal, no defenders in front of him, should have hit the target. Rashford and Martial's were a little bit tougher, but we just need more. There's no two ways about it. I still have complete confidence. Of course, my ass is twitching, all right? Your ass is twitching. Everybody's ass is twitching. Because we're labouring. Spurs, how do we give that away? 2-0 to that in the second half. Brighton, what were we doing in that second half? First half, we competed with Brighton. First half, there was one particular move where we played. It was through Wan-Bissaka on the right-hand side. It was great. Patient, one-touch football. Played it through the middle. Bruno onto Rashford. He skipped past his defender. And it was a good save by Steele, who played pretty well last night. But yeah, I feel sorry for Luke Shaw. I genuinely do. But he can't be doing that. And there's no doubt that our strikers are an issue. And Erik Ten Hag spoke about it. But look, this stat blew my mind when I saw it this week. Right? That is accurate. It's still accurate because we didn't score yesterday. But Man United in the top 5 in terms of team goals, goal scorers in all of Europe's top leagues. Now, of course, we've played a lot of football. Yes, we played a lot of football. But that, when I was looking at that, I was like, geez. However, we just need more. And we need, and it's not just about the attack. And I've seen quite a few mentioning this in the comments down there. Now, this is going to be something that I absolutely speak about. Now, Erik Ten Hag, I think there's quite a few angry people, fans, not people, angry United fans. Ten Hag should have made subs earlier, should have done this, should have done that. And I'm looking at that game yesterday, and I'm going, you're looking for an issue where I don't think it really exists there. Who could have changed that game that didn't come on or didn't come on earlier? Sabitzer on for Fred. That was in the 75th minute. I don't think bringing Sabitzer on earlier would have changed too much. Sancho on for Anthony. Sancho plays a different type of game. When we're playing like fast on the transition, it doesn't particularly suit Sancho. He's better at the intricate passing when we had to break those deeper blocks. I'm not sure Sancho's change would have made a difference any earlier. If we're going to say one could have changed, would maybe Eriksen coming on, but we know full well that's why Erik Ten Hag started Fred. Because Eriksen he has the ability to control a game, but no footballer can control a game on their own. It has to be a team thing. Has to be a team thing. The one player who could have changed the game yesterday for Manchester United, in my opinion, was Alejandro Garnacho. I think if he was fit and Garnacho would come on, I think he could have made the difference. But he's injured. And I think if you're a Pellistri, a couple of you mentioned down in the comments, I think Pellistri is a bit of a fair shout. But he must have fallen out of favour. Again, something's not really matching up with him, isn't it? But yeah, man, we could really have done with Garnacho yesterday. And I don't particularly think that making subs any earlier would really have changed how that last 25 minutes played out. That's just a personal opinion. And of course, plenty of you are going to disagree with me in the comments. But Ten Hag said this after the game. He said, look, we got to score all our chances, yeah. But in the end, we lost control and the midfield was too open. And it was open from pretty much every perspective, right? Casemiro, because of how we played yesterday, right? If we take a look at this, because of how we played yesterday, if you looked at Manchester United's lineup on paper, it would look like that. But actually, when you watched us play, it was more like this. That's how United played yesterday. We really played with more of a traditional 4-3-3 with a deep lying defensive midfielder in Casemiro. And look at the space that Casemiro's got to cover on his own. Right? That's what happened when you saw Brighton breaking the press up here, played it through, and Casemiro went lunging in on McAllister and got the yellow card. Right? That's what we played yesterday. And it just didn't have that control because, and this was a tactical decision by Erik Ten Hag. He decided to play Fred further up. Played Fred in a more aggressive midfield role. And it worked in the first half. It did. We were causing problems for Brighton, how impressive, I've got to say this, how impressed were you by Brighton's ability to actually play out from the back? Just the confidence of it. Steele, their goalkeeper, what's his face? Lewis Dunk and Webster, I think the other guy was called. They were very good. They kept inviting the pressure, and even when it got really intense, they 9 times out of 10 found a way out of it. But because Fred was playing such an aggressive role slightly higher up the pitch, Casemiro found himself very isolated. And it's just that control. The lack of control, man. Man United, I'm sure if you looked at like average positions yesterday, you're going to see something along the lines of that. Just look at that. Look how big that circle is, and I've only got one player in it. Look how much of the pitch. But Casemiro had to cover there. It was a tactical decision by Erik Ten Hag to go a little bit more aggressive with Fred. And it worked in the first half, but because we tired, it's just, look, this is my point, right? We can argue about, actually, there's no argument. We can all correctly say that we need a striker. But if you want, and this is the big thing, right? Let me pull the stats up because this is startlingly bad. Right, Man United's record away from home against the top 9 this season. The only win we've got there, the only win we've got out of all of those games is Fulham away. And that was a 93rd minute winner from Garnacho. Absolutely abysmal, right? And you know what's hilarious about that? This might blow your mind. Man United have got the 5th best away record in the Premier League. How crap has everyone else been? I'm sure that's correct. I'm pretty sure it is. It shows how many points we've been picking up away in the lower games. But Man United got the 5th best away record in the Premier League this season. That made me go, what? Is that true? I think it's true. But anyway, the lack of control, man. I'd argue it is basically just as important as getting a new striker. Right, getting a new striker in, we're scoring more goals next year. Unquestionably, we're scoring more goals next year. However, a new striker, I don't think, transforms too many of these games. Of course, they will if we're going to get the chances, but in these games where you're playing it's tougher games, tougher opposition, better tactics, harder. These are the games where we need more in midfield, more than anything. I think against the other teams at the table, just having another striker will probably be enough. But that's not what Man United want to do next year. We want to level up massively. We're going to be in the Champions League next year. We want to try and genuinely challenge for the Premier League title. So this is a gap that we have to close, and this is a gap that cannot be closed simply by signing an elite level striker. That's my opinion. And I'll tell you what, I love Casemiro. I really do. But Casemiro is not a ball retention player. Maybe he is if he's got the right people around him. And I suppose he kind of was for his whole career at Real Madrid. But he doesn't have those right people around him. Bruno is very much a transition footballer. He likes playing as quickly as possible from the defense to the attack. And his vision and ability to execute those passes is pretty unrivaled. There's not many who can do it better than him. And that's what makes him such a good footballer. However, when it comes to actually just, if you challenge Manchester United to keep the ball for 2 minutes without letting the opposition touch it, we'd have absolutely no chance. Like, no chance whatsoever. And that's something that City could do with their eyes closed. It's something I would probably expect Liverpool could, maybe not Liverpool as much these days, but that's such an important facet of football. And it might be boring. It might not be that sexy goal scorer, but it's the damn truth. Until Man United learn how to control a game of football, these results will never disappear. These performances will never disappear. Eriksen, brilliant dude, not fit or physically capable enough to do the level that is needed in the Premier League for 90 minutes. If you combine Fred's athleticism with Eriksen's ability, that's the midfielder we need. Because at the moment, you're compromising when you're playing either of them. If it's Eriksen on, then you've got the ability to control a game, but you don't have the legs. And then all of a sudden, your midfield gets overrun. Okay, let's put Fred on. Well, then you've got the legs there, but you don't have that ball retention ability. So it's compromise or it's compromise. And this is why we have to sell so well this summer. McTominay's not that guy. Fred's not that guy. Eriksen is that guy, but not for 90 minutes and not 3 times a week across the course of a season. We need more in that midfield to close that gap. Because that's the blocker between us getting into the top 4 next season and us competing for the league and in the Champions League. And you can't ignore it. You cannot ignore it. You can't just look at the fact that we've got poor finishing. Ten Hag's right. Wrong thing. That one there. Yeah, we've got to score our chances. Yeah, we do. Martial. Ship him out. Get some money in. Find someone else. Rashford. He'll find his scoring boots again. No doubt about it. But we can't expect to just rely on Marcus Rashford. Anthony felt like we could have got the ball more to Anthony yesterday. He's been our most dangerous outlet in attack for the last few weeks, last few games. Really frustrated that he didn't find a target with that shot, though. Lots and lots of you are talking about Frenkie de Jong. Hey, man, I don't know who that midfielder is going to be. I'll tell you what, right? I was going to speak about this a little bit later in the show, but I'll tell you a transfer that I really think A, should happen, and B, could happen. Is Yurian Timber, right? Because when it comes to ball retention and game control, you don't just have to look at your central midfielders. Of course, that's the main engine of it, right? And Ten Hag will want to sign one. But Yurian Timber, for me, look, right, Wan-Bissaka, for all of his improvement he's shown this year, that sort of ball retention, that ain't his game. Yurian Timber naturally will play like that. Obviously, he knows the Ten Hag style. Obviously, he's played with Martinez. There's certain like boxes he will always tick. Timber, for me, is the profile that matches a player that we do not have in this squad. Dalot is not like that. He's better going forward, but Dalot will not be that ball retention player. Dalot and Wan-Bissaka are two right-backs who will not allow Manchester United to dominate possession, to dominate and control a game of football. Now, the fact that Timber can play both right-back and centre-back, that's another little tick on his list. But in my opinion, and you might not... it's really hard to decide who the best right back choices, because I think on paper, if you're looking at what Wan-Bissaka has as a set of characteristics that not many defenders, again last night, absolutely kept Matoma in his pocket. He's just very, very good at stopping the threat of an exciting winger. He's probably the best at it. So therefore, I think you need him in your... No, you don't need him, but in terms of having different options in your squad, I think Wan-Bissaka keeps his place there more than Diogo Dalot does. I'm just being honest. I'm trying to be as fair and as honest as I possibly can be. And you know full well about what I thought about Wan-Bissaka early this season. But if I really try and take my emotion away from it and I step back, I see Wan-Bissaka as a right back who Ten Hag would love to have the option of in those certain games and certain occasions where he should be starting. And then I think, well, maybe it's got to be Diogo Dalot who's moved on. And then Timber comes in as a replacement for Dalot. And then you've got two very different profile right backs. Timber, who's going to be brilliant in the build-up, brilliant and always making himself available for a pass. That will make it so much easier for Man United to play it out from the back. So much easier to control a game of football. And then in occasions where maybe we're going up against a tougher opposition, then maybe Wan-Bissaka can come in for those occasions. And then you can have those two as your options. Whereas if you had Timber and Dalot as two options, well, Timber would just be a better version of Dalot, wouldn't he? You need alternatives. And I think my position on who should be sold is kind of switching a little bit. And we won't be short of suitors for Diogo Dalot. I think Timber for me is one to watch. And I tell you what, and this is something I've been doing a lot with the research with Stephen in terms of our transfer targets. If we sign Yurian Timber, then the profile of the midfielder that we need changes because of the assuredness that he would bring into defense and midfield. Yurian Timber adds a lot to that. So it means that you can look at a slightly different profile of midfielder. It's all very, very interesting. Like Frimpong, right? We're linked with Frimpong from Leverkusen. He's basically a winger. He's played in 3-5-2 system his whole career. That's why he didn't even go into the latest Dutch squad from Ronald Koeman, because he said, well, I like my defenders to be, defend first. And he doesn't consider Frimpong a defender. He's basically a right winger. Great at beating his man, great at getting the balls into the box. But he's not going to be the guy who comes and allows you to build up from the back. And that is This Ten Hag team and the way we're playing, we're nowhere near the final product of what Ten Hag wants. How we played in that first 20 minutes against Brighton, that's the sort of aggressive front press that Ten Hag wants from his team in every game. Right? But playing out from the back, I can't even remember any games this season. There, of course, there's been occasions where we have done it. But Ten Hag wants that control. And for me, that the signing of Yurian Timber ticks a lot of boxes. First of all, he wants to join. It's a big thing. He'll be available. Will Ajax try and pull our pants down? Yes, they will. But we go early in the window. We go with a fixed price, and let's make it happen quickly. Let's not dilly-dally and wait, and that gives them the advantage. Just had a little bit of a spoke about Yurian Timber for quite a lot. Let me speak down. Let me see what you're saying down here in the comments. Sam, do you think Ten Hag could be thinking about playing back three next year or haven't? I don't think so, Alex. Erik Ten Hag is pretty firm on his formation. We know that. It's what? 4-2-3-1-ish. But then in possession, we switch to a 3-3-2-5. And that, again, is what I'm talking about Yurian Timber, right? If we took, hypothetically, we took Wan-Bissaka out here and we put in Yurian Timber, who am I going to replace him for? Sorry, Langer. I don't think he'll be here next year. All right, Yurian Timber. This means that Manchester United can do this in attack. Let's get Luke Shaw back in his favourite position. Let's get Martinez here. Oh, man, this team is looking so much sexier. My word. Right. It's nice doing this sort of thing, speaking about next year. But Yurian Timber, right? This would mean that if Manchester United broke forward, and you know what happens? You see that. You see our midfielders going up there. No, it's not, you see. 3. Oh, God. That's what happens. You get one of the overlaps there. One of the fullbacks will go forward, create those overlaps up there. So you play with 5 up front, and then you get 3 centre-backs here. Having, well, not 3 centre-backs, but 3 defenders who will operate centre-backs. Having Yurian Timber there instead of Wan-Bissaka makes a huge difference to Man United's ability to control the ball and play it out from the back. A massive, massive difference. I feel pretty strongly about this. I'll be totally honest. I feel very, very strongly about this. So I might even do a video on it this afternoon. Because I want to really start looking forward to what's coming next. Because so many people now, right? Geez, this team's really hard to sort. Wan-Bissaka was there, Varane was off there, Lindelof was there. My God, how many changes did we fucking have? This team is messed. Really is. Casemiro there, Fred there, Bruno there. That changed the whole bloody thing. That's why. Timber isn't a right back. I don't get why we do. No, Timber is a centre back. Has been playing a centre back for the majority of his career there. And I'm not saying that he would operate. He would kind of operate more as a centre back than he would a right back. And that's pretty much the point I'm making. Yeah, we might lose a little bit of threat down that right-hand side because we haven't got the overlaps. It will make Anthony's time a little bit tougher. But it would make us so much better bringing the ball out from the back. So much better. And that, for me, is a crucial aspect. More crucial than having an overlapping right back. Just my opinion. All right? I'm going to go down here and see what you're saying. But Timber can play right back. I'm not saying he is a right back naturally. But in terms of the problems that we've got, we need to sort that control out. And I could see Timber coming in there and doing a job in that position. I think there was a super chat earlier. I missed it. Oh, I didn't miss it. I just forgot to. Daichi Kamada, Guido Rodriguez, Ruben Neves could be really beneficial to make use of the money for Maguire. Make him a striker for his goals. Maguire up front. What game was that in? Can't remember that. That's like a bad memory. That game with Maguire played up front. Shax, you're saying Van der Beek plus 30 mil for Timber. Well, I don't think Van der Beek's going to be worth that much. Any Ajax fans, are you in the comments? Would you take Donny Van der Beek back? Would you be happy to have him back? I can really see that happening because Van der Beek's had such a rough time of it. He just needs to go where he's comfortable, where he's loved, and where he can enjoy himself again. And I think going back to Ajax would be a really, really good idea for his career. It just depends whether Ajax need him or not. Andreas, would you be happy with Caicedo, Osimhen, and Frenkie de Jong as the only signings this summer? Yes. Yeah, I think I'll be fine with that. Caicedo. Mustard. He's good. He's very, very good. Playing at right back yesterday, doing a job for the team because De Zerbi had injuries. He's just a very good player. Very, very good player. Stephen Lawrence, Timber at right back is still square pegs, round holes. We need a proper right back. No, yeah, we need a proper right back, but you know, we need an ability to play out from the back. And I think maybe foregoing a little bit of threat down that right would really solidify what Ten Hag's system is in stage 2 of this rebuild. Bebo say, "Oh, Bebo, are you Osimhen's agent?" That's weird. What are you doing in the comments here? You know that he doesn't want to join us. You know he wants to join PSG or Bayern. That's pretty cool that you know that information, man. I don't know how you know that information. Absolutely no one else does. David Bruce, De Jong, Osimhen, and Caicedo. I think I just got a step. I'm not, mate. There's no way we get Osimhen, Frenkie de Jong, and Caicedo. I don't think we're going to get Frenkie de Jong. I do think that we're going to be going. I imagine the phone calls will happen over de Jong again this summer. I really, really do. Let's pull this photo up again now. Lots of you talking about Gravenberch. I've spoken about Gravenberch. I think would be a very, very smart signing if Man United were able to make it. He's not happy at Bayern Munich. They've just signed Konrad Laimer. Sabitzer, I still think he'd be a good signing for 20 million. I'm not totally sold on whether Sabitzer will be signed or not. And it all depends on how much we truly renew this squad. Because I think we need to be shipping off Ilanga, Martial, McTominay, Jones, Tuanzebe, Maguire, question marks over Delo, lots and lots of things. Robert Blake, you're saying Timber's a luxury signing, Gravenberch is a necessity. Yeah, I would agree. If you were to ask me which one would I want more, I would say Gravenberch. I agree. But I wanted to just point that out about Timber because I think people are overlooking how important that could be to this team. Like, I know we're all just looking at our central midfield as the reason why we're not controlling football games, but it's more than that. I think you can look at the fullbacks as well. I think you can look at the whole squad, of course. But that's why I wanted to have that conversation and talking point about right back, about Timber, about that. Is the future on McNeil deciding? No, I don't think so far. Edred Jones saying, why are we not sniffing around Leao? Mate, Rafael Leao he's like Rashford. And we don't need another Rashford. Rafael Leao is actually he's better than Rashford when it comes to dribbling past the player. He's incredible at running at players with the ball and skipping past them. That's not what we need. We've got Rashford to do that. We've got Sancho. We've got Garnacho. It's pretty much the last position, I think, you would actually sign someone. We need a centre forward if we're going to sign a centre forward. And you're saying Skriniar would have been great available in a free, but I think is it PSG he's going to? Don't think we're going to be signing him. Honestly, if I'm looking at our 4 centre-back options, I feel pretty fine next season. I do. Martinez with Shaw as his backup when needed, and Varane with Lindelof as his backup. I'm fine with that. Maybe we'll, a season later, look at upgrading Lindelof or look at getting a better backup to Martinez. But I'm fine with that for next season. I think there's bigger priorities than that. And not from game to game, but I get torn between what I feel is the biggest priority as to whether that's a striker or whether that's a midfielder or whether that's a goalkeeper who will also help with this control. And I don't need to speak about it after De Gea made a wonderful save with his face. Jeez. But look at how Brighton played out from the back with the ball, and look at how United played out from the back with the ball. I mean, Brighton are where United want to be. So composed, so good. So many passes where you go, but they managed it pretty much every single time. It was quite impressive from Brighton, and I was pretty jealous. I'll be completely honest. I was pretty jealous about it. Why is Varane injured a lot? Varane's injuries record has been okay this year, but it's just been a bit don't know. What is his injury at the moment? I don't even know what his injury is. He might be fit for the FA Cup final, but you watched that game yesterday and you think that we've got to go and play City in the FA Cup final. Don't know why I just moved. I'm scared. Scared to play City in that game. The way that we played yesterday there. My word. My word. Striker, central midfielder, and a goalkeeper is a must, says Rahman. Hey, I've spoken about De Gea. I've got enough pelters on it so far. It's mad. When you speak about a player that so many fans are emotionally attached to, it's like you're slapping their mum. It's like you can't say it. It's weird. Very strange. I actually think we need 2 strikers. I'll be totally honest. I think we need 2 strikers. Because if you think, right, that we need a striker now, right? Let me pull this up. We need a striker right now. Okay? Let alone the fact that Weghorst won't get his loan deal renewed. And the fact that I think Martial should be sold. We need 2 strikers. We need 2 strikers for the depth. And we need a powerful central midfielder who can be that ball retention dude. Just somebody who wants the ball constantly. He doesn't have to do anything spectacular with it. Honestly, just constantly make yourself available and have your pass success rate above 90%. That's all we need in the midfielder, right? Because you can get the ball to Bruno and you can let him do the magic. You can get the ball up to Rashford and let him do some magic. All we need is that midfielder who's great at receiving the ball from the defense and is pretty much flawless at finding a teammate with the next pass. That's the big thing we're missing. It's so easy when you say it like that, and it's very difficult. That's why there aren't that many elite level footballers like that in world football. Rodri's probably the best at it, and he's got some goals in him too. Bebo, he sent a super chat. Do you think James Garner should have been sold last summer? Always thought he could have been a good backup to Casemiro. And what's your thoughts on Mike? Is that Mike Mannion? Mannion? AC Milan's goalkeeper. He's very good. He is very good. James Garner, we undersold him. I know that much. I'm not too upset that we sold James Garner. And you can look at that as a hypothetical what if. I don't think he really would have stepped in and been a Casemiro backup, if I'm being totally honest. I think that's a bit of a stretch. Just an opinion, though. You want Ryan? You want Paulina? Paulina would be a very good player. There's lots of players like that. I've got a video planned which takes a look at 5 different options. We scout them, we take a look at them, we have conversations around them. Not all of them you will know of as well, because it's definitely a thing. It's definitely what Man United are doing behind the scenes. And of course, all of this is being held up by the fact that we don't know who our new owners are. And it's going to impact our ability to act swiftly this summer. Really is. It might be a summer which drags on because of it. And it better be the last one ever. But who knows what to expect this summer? Who knows what to expect this summer? Lots of you mentioning good scouting down there in the comments. At Brighton yesterday, the perfect example of what good scouting can do to your team. It's not always about spending £70 million. It's about signing smart. They were like, what was it? Enciso? Yeah, he was a bit of a dig yesterday, man. Again, that's why I felt a bit sorry for Luke Shaw. Like, that was not a foul in the build-up to the goal. It was an utter dive. And the ref was like 4 yards away from it. Obviously, the angles were a little bit different, so we couldn't see the fact that Shaw didn't push him. But just Brighton were a very good team yesterday. Emphasis on the word team. Just no real weaknesses. And then Man United we just weren't good enough. Weren't good enough. Ryan saying, why didn't we get Caicedo again? We got to speak about that. I don't know a particular reason, but he was offered to us for about 5 million. And now if we do sign him this summer, which I don't think we will, but if we did, you're looking at 85 million. United, Malps, you're saying down there, United are not smart with recruitment. We're not good at identifying early enough. That's our crux. That's our Achilles heel right now, and that comes to good scouting. We're improving it massively with the amount of data that we're starting to use as a football club. I've told you that before. I'm going to do a video on it a little bit later on. But we just have to get better at spotting the right. Now, there are certain clubs like Benfica, Borussia Dortmund, Brighton as well, that have the ability to let these younger, raw players emerge because there's less pressure. There's less spotlight. At Man United, you don't get as much of a chance as that. You don't get as much time as that to really emerge and develop. So there's certain things and certain players that those clubs can sign that we can't, because that player won't be given the same leeway at our club. So they have to be better. And the margin for error is far smaller at Manchester United compared to Brighton, Benfica, and Borussia Dortmund. But we've got to get better at it. We have to. Have to this summer. Carl Perkins saying down there, Ten Hag is... I'm going to have to pull this comment up. Ten Hag is on the... Carl, in fact, it's going to pull up full screen. Ten Hag is on the way to failing. Who do you think will replace him when he gets sacked? Let's face it, we will never catch City on the current trajectory. Honestly, I don't know whether... Is there anybody else that is in the same sort of camp as Carl? I'm curious, genuinely curious. Of course, after a loss, everybody looks for a scapegoat. Who am I going after this? Oh, yeah, you're getting it. Ten Hag, headbutt. How about that? Mate, compared to where we were at the start, even at the start of this season, we have achieved plenty. Are we still some way off City? Yep. Do we have some real problems away from home? Hell, yes, we do. As Carl Anker put it in his article for The Athletic this morning, we are still too soft. We do have a weak underbelly. And just too many times this season, it's been exposed. It's really, really been exposed. And it's frustrating. However, I still have confidence that we're not gonna get into the top four like skipping, high-fiving everybody, champagne popping. But we'll get into the top four. We'll like crawl over the line. We've got a bloodied and bruised leg. The other one, we've had half of it blown off. But we'll get into the top four. We'll recover. We'll recuperate. And hopefully we improve this summer, because we have to. I think what Ten Hag has done this season, I think we've seen, is pretty much as far as he can take this current team. Got to 2 cup finals, won one of them, and getting in the top 4. That really is... That's as much as we could... At the start of the season, I'll go back to my predictions. I'll go back to my expectations. All of us wanted top 4. That was the first thing that we wanted. And on top of that, be nice if we won a cup. We've already won one. We're in the final of another. And let's not speak about the Europa League. We've got, I think, as far as we can this season. This top 4, if we can grind out this season. That's what the end of the season is. It is a grind. It is a slog. It's like doing a double shift at work. That's what United are doing for the end of this season. Still think we'll do it. West Ham, it's not a good time to play West Ham. Look, right. They've lost 3 on the spin, but all West Ham need is one more win and they're out of the relegations and they're fine. And they're playing United at home on Sunday. Mate, West Ham are going to be bang up for this game on Sunday. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to it because of how poor our away form is. But I'm going to be doing my starting 11 and preview. I didn't do a preview this week for the Brighton game. First time in a long time I haven't done a preview. I had plenty of people going, Sam, where's the preview? I was like, sorry, it's not coming out. I didn't shout. But look, very, very quiet show in terms of how many people are watching and tuning in today. But this happens every single time on United People's TV. We are not a community that thrives on negativity. But these sort of things you got to talk about, right? These sort of things you got to talk about. Last couple of minutes of the show, you can let me know what you think in the comments below. as you always do. It can be it can be anything you want, but it's Friday, which means, of course, it is the map day. So don't worry about it, ladies and gents. I haven't forgotten. You let me know where you're watching from, the town and the country, and I'll get a few of you on the map. Who's on the map recently? We've got Ubelingen in Germany. We've got Runavika in Faroe Islands. Look at that. Ontario in Canada. Trinidad and Tobago. We've got Aberystwyth. We've got Tehran from Iran. Michigan, USA. Algina in Greece. Kuantan in Malaysia. Man, all around the world. Always makes me smile. Grace, you're in my basement, which is a bit weird because I haven't got a basement. So you need to get out of there. I don't know where you are, but it ain't my basement. We've got Pavel watching from Slovinki in Slovakia. Is there a place in Slovakia called Slovinki? No, not that one. Slovinki in Slovakia. I don't know why. That's a really good name. I love Slovakia. I went to Lake Bled, but there was another lake near Lake Bled that wasn't. It was better than Lake Bled, I think. Anyway, found a little tiny. You walk through the forest for 10 minutes, and then you sat and you just had your own private bank going into the lake. It was amazing. I love that shit. Slovakia was awesome. Also had a burger that was so spicy that I cried. Not actually crying. You know what I mean? Basically crying. Who we got down here? We've got Runic watching from Tunisia. Awesome. On you go, sir. Tunis in Tunisia. Wicked. Let's get a couple more. Let's get a couple more down here. Oh, yeah. My bad. Sorry, everyone. I know. I know that now. But I do like Slovakia as well. Have I been to Slovakia? No, I don't think I have. I might like Slovakia. Expose my geography there. Absolutely expose my geography there. Let's get one more up. We've got this lad watching from Maryland in the USA. Awesome. Maryland, a great biscuit. Great biscuit. I want a biscuit now. Problem is with biscuits, you can't just have a biscuit, can you? It's not possible. Has anybody in this world ever just had a biscuit? Because you're lying. You definitely have more than one biscuit. Look, I'm going to wrap this show up. I'm going to wrap it up for the week because it's been a frustrating week. It's been a slow week here on United People's TV. And I hope the next week will be bigger, better, and we've got something to shout about, that we can talk about our new owners. That's what I want to be speaking about. Nathan, how you doing down there? Look at that. Look at what a wonderful way to end the week. Gifting 5 memberships. Who are the lucky 5 that have just been gifted a membership from Nathan? Let's have a look. John Neal, very nice. You got one. Leaf, Vicky, you've got one. Kenneth and Liam. Thank you very much, Nathan. Absolute ledge. Everyone down there, I agree with you. You can't just have one biscuit. It's not possible. But look, I'll be back here. I'll be back here next week. You know I will be. Monday to Friday. I'll be back here a little bit later today at lunchtime with my lunchtime video. I'll be back tomorrow with my West Ham preview. I'll be here on Sunday for the West Ham reaction. And hopefully at some point soon, we're going to be having a conversation about our new owners on this channel. We need to find out who that preferred new owner is. That's what we're waiting for. Fingers crossed it happens. Thank you all for tuning in. United, just see this season out. Get top 4. But man, you're making it difficult. You are making it difficult.